Hey friends, Natural Born Jewelers here. I had a lot of questions about this pendant, so I figured what I would do is show you guys how to make the cactus. So we're going to start with 20 gauge bare copper wire, and this is round. For the pendant that I'm working on today, I'm going to cut 6 inches in length. Whatever length that you use, go ahead and mark your wire in the middle. With your round nose pliers, you're going to just take the very tip of your pliers there and put them on that middle mark of your wire. Bend it down just like this. So depending on how big you want to make your cactus, and once you do a couple of these, you'll see what I mean. But here I'm just going to drop it, I would say less than 1/4 of an inch on the one side, and I'm going to place my round nose pliers here. What you're going to do here is just gently, now I use my thumb to push the wire back up. Now once you have that first bend, you're going to put your pliers, I drop it down below that first top of the cactus there, okay? And you're gonna bend it back down, straighten it out if you need to. So then what I do on the other side is I kind of make it parallel to that bend there on the other side of that cactus. And then you're gonna bend it up. And then I kind of rest my round nose pliers down in the bend. You'll see here in just a second, right? So that's going to be the tops of your cactus. You're going to have 3 of those bends there. Now what I'm doing here is I put my round nose pliers at the bottom of that bend there, and I'm going to pull it in at a 90-degree angle and just rotate your round nose pliers there in the corner and gently push back. Rotate your cactus and repeat on the other side. You'll see here where I'm going to place those round nose pliers. I'm going to show you here where it's going to line up with the bottom of that bend. You see how it's pretty much like parallel. So now this is where you're going to do your 90-degree angle. You're going to bend that wire in. Just a gentle push, rotate your pliers, and then bend it back. So now you have your basic shape here of your cactus. So now what I'm going to do is take my little flat nose, these are like the fine ones here, and I'm going to kind of pinch it, each one of those little cactus tops there, I'm going to pinch them in, and what this is going to do, it's going to kind of curve it and give it a little bit of a shape so that they're just not square, or just kind of, you see how I'm pinching it in there? And you'll see here in just a second how it kind of gives more of that little cactus shape. And just do like a little dry fit, make sure that you're happy with the size of it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just straightening out that wire there for the base of the cactus and just giving it a little bit of a wiggle. I'm not pinching or anything like that. I'm just kind of bending it to give it like a straight base there. And just another little dry fit. And I'll do this a couple of times until I'm happy with the size of the cactus. So you can see what I'm doing here is just bending those in, and it kind of makes it a little bit smaller. And you'll have to do this a couple of times. I think I did it about a handful of times before I got used to it. So I'm gonna kind of bend this angle up here on both sides. And when you do this, it's gonna pull, you'll see that it pulls the base in. And what I like to do is just kind of keep doing a dry fit there to make sure that my base is gonna match up with the top of my cactus. So once I do that and I'm happy with the shape of it, I'm gonna take my hammer, and that's the flat side. You see here, that's your tapered side. So what I'm gonna do here, and this will help also work harden it, what I like to do, and I don't do it on all of them, but I like to give it texture because it gives it more of like a little bit of a cactus feel. So just dap it there, and you'll see that I'm rotating, and that's so that the hammer kind of it'll give it a different texture so that they're all not facing the same way, and you'll see here in just a second. Now, if your wire starts to bend on you, and it'll do that naturally, just flip it over, use the flat side of your hammer, and just give it a couple of taps, and it'll flatten it back out. And continue to texture the front side of your cactus there. And you don't have to do this too hard. Now, you're not trying to flatten your wire. What you're doing is just giving it some depth and some texture. And remember to go down a little bit because you want to cover the base of your cactus there as well. And just kind of go in on different angles. You'll see here in just a second why I do this. It gives it more of a little natural feel. So now you can see how it's got that texture there. And sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. And just take a peek at it, see how you feel about it. So now here, when you pinch in like this, that's gonna pull, watch the bottom there. You see how it pulls out like your base wires there at the bottom of your cactus? So that'll widen it. So now what I'm doing here is just pulling those wires in to make the base of my cactus a little bit more straight. And you see there? So now all the gaps in the wires are pretty much even. So now here, just at the base of your cactus, you're going to go ahead and just pull those wires out on a 90-degree angle. I'm going to use my nylon jaws here just to kind of flatten it, make sure that it's not popping out, that it's nice and flat. Little dry fit. And that's about where we want it on the pendant. So you want those wires down there to be towards the bottom of your pendant there, but not too much that it's not going to hold your pendant in. You want to give it just enough there to kind of make it snug up against the shoulder there of your cabochon. And now if you want to, you can take another 20 gauge wire across the bottom of that in an equal length, and you can actually weave those wires together and make it like a double wire length. So here's what your little cactus should look like just by itself. Here's a close-up shot of the texturing that I was showing you guys, and see how the texturing kind of runs all different ways, so it gives it a different feel than just keeping it on one angle. Here it is again in motion, so you can see from a different angle. From here, what you're going to do is just use that little cactus, use that wire to attach to your other wires as you're working your wire around your cabochon. Here's this one completed. It still needs to be patinaed and polished, but that is the little cactus that we were working on. And don't forget that if you want to, you can attach your cactus wire to another base wire and make a weave to take around your cabochon for your final piece. You can do these in all different sizes and have at it. This here is an example of what I mean by using another wire to put on your cactus base wire for your final piece. There you have it. You can use this cactus in many different ways with your cabochons to make many different pieces. I hope this tutorial was easy for you guys to follow. If you have any questions, feel free to message us and go out there and make some cactus. Enjoy!